The last time I was here, which years ago, I think I've changed a lot, grown a lot. It's nice to see the welcome that I've had. There's a huge Filipino community here, so I'm so excited.
There's a plaza in Rome. Not inside a stadium, not on a map that tourists carry, but in the Filipino district, tucked into the everyday life of one of the oldest cities in the world. It's called Piazza Manila, named after the capital of the Philippines. And in a few days, something is going to happen near that plaza that the people who walk past it every single day have been waiting for without quite knowing it. A Filipino woman ranked inside the world's top 50 is about to walk onto the clay at the Foro Italico, in the most stacked WTA 1000 draw assembled on any surface this entire season. And the 165,000 Filipinos who call Italy home are about to show up like a tournament has never seen before. But here's what makes this more than just a feel-good story. Exactly 1 year ago, on that same clay, in that same stadium, Alex Eala lasted 45 minutes. The score was 6-0, 6-1. She didn't lose a close match. She didn't push someone and come up short. She was erased. And the tournament moved on without her before lunch. What happens between a moment like that and the one she's walking into now is the actual story. Because the gap between who she was in May 2025 and who she is entering Rome in 2026 isn't a gradual improvement. It's a documented, measurable, undeniable transformation, and most people still haven't fully clocked what's been quietly building behind the scenes. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers are almost unfair in how well they tell this story. Eala enters Rome ranked 44th in the world with a career high of 31, reached just 2 months ago in February. She has 15 wins already on the 2026 season. But the detail that changes everything, the mechanical fact that makes her genuinely dangerous at this specific tournament, is that she holds just 70 ranking points across the entire clay season. That means she has almost nothing to defend. Every single match she wins in Rome is pure gain. Pure ascent. No safety net required. No points hemorrhaging in the background, just accumulation. Tournament directors understand what that means. Her opponents will too, eventually. When a player with nothing to lose enters a field with everything to protect, the psychology shifts in ways that don't show up in any seedings chart. And the seedings chart for this Rome draw is something else entirely. The WTA confirmed it officially. The entire top 20 is present. Every single one of them. Iga Swiatek, seated 4th, 3-time Rome champion. The woman who rewrote what clay dominance looks like in the modern era. Elena Rybakina, seated 2nd, who lifted this exact trophy in 2023. Jasmine Paolini, the defending champion, seated 9th, playing in front of a home crowd that treats her like she owns the city. Alina Svitolina, who won this title back-to-back in 2017 and 2018, also in the draw. Karolina Pliskova, the 2020 Rome champion, entering via protected ranking. And then there's Karolina Machova, seated 11th, who didn't just beat Eala earlier this season. In Miami, in March, she dismantled her 6-0, 6-2 in under an hour. The last 3 women to hold the Rome trophy are all here. All seated. All hunting. And Eala enters without a seed, ranked 44 spots below, where the bracket starts being generous. This is not a difficult draw. This is the draw. The hardest field of the season. On the surface, she's spent the last year trying to conquer, in a city that is already waiting for her in ways that have nothing to do with tennis. Now think about what it actually takes to come back to the place where you were most publicly exposed. Not just to show up, but to show up with intent. May 7th, 2025. Foro Italico. Marta Kostyuk walked through her. 45 minutes. There was no competitive stretch to point to, no moment where it looked like it might turn. The surface exposed every gap she hadn't closed yet, and it did it in front of everyone. That kind of result follows a player. It sits in the memory of every analyst, every opponent, every algorithm calculating draw difficulty. It becomes the reference point. The ceiling. Except it wasn't her ceiling. It was her floor. And the person most responsible for rebuilding what came after that result is someone whose name alone rewrites the entire conversation about what Eala is capable of on clay. Tony Nadal. Rafael Nadal's uncle. The man who stood at the edge of the court for 14 French Open titles. The architect of the most dominant clay court dynasty the sport has ever seen. Built from first principles, from footwork and philosophy, and an almost unreasonable belief that red clay could be turned into an advantage rather than endured. He is overseeing her clay preparation at the Rafa Nadal Academy. Sandro Viant is her primary on-court coach, with Joan Bosch and Luke Beza also part of the team. But Tony Nadal is the fingerprint on the ground strokes. Eala said it herself. We're so blessed to have Tony as part of the team. He really has that knowledge, obviously. Obviously. That word does a lot of work when you say it about the man who coached Rafa to 14 Roland Garros trophies. Greg Rosetsky, former world number 4, 1997 US Open finalist, speaking on his podcast last week, connected it directly. Being at the academy with Rafa on clay, he spent a lot of time with her. She knows what to do. Rosetsky is not someone filling airtime. He competed at the highest level for years. When he says she knows what to do, he's describing something specific, a tactical and physical vocabulary, for clay, that most players spend entire careers trying to develop, and she has been absorbing it from the man who literally wrote it. But Rosetsky said something else, that week, that stopped a lot of people mid-scroll. He reached for a comparison that anyone who follows global sport immediately understood. She's like the Manny Pacquiao of the Philippines, and they're always so hungry for a new superstar. I'd love to see her in the top 20. She is great for the WTA, and we need more superstars. We need more names. She just opens up a marketplace, and people just love her. Manny Pacquiao, 8-division world champion, elected to Congress, one of the most recognizable athletes on the planet. A former world number 4 placed Eala in that lineage without hesitation, without hedging, without any personal stake in Filipino tennis. He said it because the evidence was pulling him there, and that evidence has been showing. Up in person at every tournament she's entered this season. Indian Wells, Miami, Madrid, Filipino flags in the stands. Sold-out sections that had nothing to do with the scheduled opponent. Philippine embassy representatives documented at her matches. The WTA's own Instagram capturing her celebrating with family for the 3rd consecutive major event in a row. These aren't fans who booked last-minute flights when she made a draw. They live on these continents. They work in these cities. They know the roads to the stadium by memory, because some of them have been driving them for decades. And 6 days before she committed to Rome, Eala did something that had nothing to do with a tennis racket, and everything to do with who she understands herself to be. April 21st, 2026. The Laureus World Sports Awards in Madrid. One of the most prestigious ceremonies in global sport. The same room where the greatest athletes in the world collect hardware and give speeches. She walked the red carpet in a Filipiniana gown, designed by her uncle Ret Eala, a formal traditional Filipino dress, worn deliberately, prepared in advance, announced to the room and to every camera pointed at her. She said, "I've always had a dream that when I'm on a red carpet, I'll wear a Filipiniana. Laureus Sports Awards, it's perfect." She didn't arrive as a tennis player attending an awards show. She arrived as a cultural ambassador who happened to also be a tennis player. The gown and the clay court are 2 different stages, and she is performing on both of them with the same clarity of purpose. Which makes what's been happening on the clay itself even more important to look at honestly, because the clay has not been entirely kind. In the weeks leading into Rome, she lost to Ostapenko in Linz, to Fernandez in Stuttgart, and then 4 days before confirming Rome, she faced Elise Mertens in Madrid. The scoreline was 6-2, 6-1. She broke Mertens's serve 0 times. She won 38 points out of 99 contested. Against a player ranked 21st in the world on clay, the physical confrontation wasn't close. The reaction online was immediate. Some of it was supportive. Some of it was genuinely discouraging, the kind of noise that accumulates after a one-sided result and starts to shape the narrative heading into the next event. Rosetsky felt it was worth addressing directly. Don't get too discouraged. It might take a little bit longer for her, but she's got a great team around her, and she's got to find solutions. The fact that he said it tells you how loud the discouragement was getting. And Eala's response to all of it was not a statement or a social media post. It was a decision. Within 48 hours of that Madrid loss, she withdrew from the Catalonia Open, a smaller event where she was already entered, a safer surface to recover confidence on, and instead confirmed her commitment to a WTA 1000 with every top 20 player in the world waiting in the draw. That is not the decision of someone who is rattled. That is the decision of someone who has looked at the hardest possible option and walked toward it on purpose. Earlier in the clay swing, after her first win in Linz, she had said something that gives you a window into exactly how she processes these moments. She was asked about the weight of her fans' expectations, the pressure that comes with carrying a community's hope every time she walks onto a court. And she said, My pressure is nothing compared to theirs. A 20-year-old athlete, in the middle of a grueling professional season, on a surface she's still developing on, reframes her own competitive pressure as secondary to what the people watching her are carrying. That is not a talking point. That is a value system. And it tells you everything about where her drive actually comes from. It was never about her ranking. It was never about a seedings table. It is about the Filipino nurse in Rome who has a shift in the morning, but will find a way to get to the Foro Italico anyway. It is about the community that has been in Italy for decades, that built something real in a foreign country through years of work, that walks past Piazza Manila on a Tuesday morning and maybe doesn't think much about it, until one of their own is playing 100 meters away from that same red clay in front of the whole world. The 165,000 Filipinos across Italy are not a demographic the WTA was drawing before this season. Tournament directors from Rome to Roland Garros are doing the math on what her presence is worth, not just athletically, but commercially, culturally, in terms of what a sold-out section of a stadium communicates to a broadcaster looking at audience numbers. Rosetsky called it plainly. Anywhere around the world where there are people from the Philippines, her matches sell out. She is a huge, huge positive. That is not hype. That is a market reality that the sport has been waiting to find. And the stakes extend beyond Rome. Roland Garros begins May 24th. Every point Eala earns or loses between now and then reshapes her seeding bracket and changes the path she walks into Paris. A quarter-final run in Rome, a realistic but far from guaranteed outcome against this field, could push her back toward the top 30 and alter the first week draw at the French Open entirely. There is also Parma, the WTA 125 Parma Ladies Open, running May 11th through the 16th, where she is entered as the 4th seed. If she is still alive in Rome when Parma begins, the choice she makes will say something specific about how seriously she is treating this clay window. The schedule is not forgiving, but she withdrew from a safer tournament to be here, so the intention seems clear. 1 year ago, this court took 45 minutes to end her tournament. The scoreboard left no room for softening the result. And she went home, and she worked, and she found Tony Nadal, and she wore a Filipiniana on a red carpet in Madrid, and she won 15 matches on the 2026 season, and she chose Rome over comfort when the easy choice was available. The clay at the Foro Italico is the same clay it always was. Swiatek has won on it 3 times. The defending champion knows every corner of it. The last 3 trophy holders are all seated and ready. And walking in unseeded, with 70 points to defend and 165,000 reasons waiting in the bleachers, is the 44th ranked player in the world who looked at all of